have 3 positions open and 8 candidates. And so it needs to have people in there that understand budgets, that can make decisions that are independent of any other agenda or power struggle or whatever other reason they might have for making those decisions. And I'm independent. And I'd like you to vote for me. So thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else running for anything?
My name's Steve Hedke. I'm running for Red Oak City Council Place 2. And I can't add to anything these guys have already said, but I can say this much. What we have here is a microcosm of what's going on in this country. We are called a shining city on the hill for one reason and one reason only. You folks have probably already heard the saying that there's no difference between us and the folks in Europe, Russia, Africa, anywhere else. What makes us different is our government. They are accountable to us. Keep them that way. Do not make your vote the last thing you do this year. Make it the first thing you do. You go in, you make that vote, and then you make the next city council meeting. You make the next city board meeting. You let those folks know that in code of ethics and their oath that they take, they make themselves accountable to us. And never, ever, ever let them forget that again. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else that's running?
All right.
My name is Floyd Bates. I'm running for Waxahachie School Board Trustee position coming up May 8th. I have 3 children in the district. I think it should be a priority to have kids in the district if you're going to represent our schools. I have 3 businesses here in town. My main business is commercial real estate business in Dallas. I'm married. My wife is 15 years teacher here at WISD. My mother-in-law is 20 years teacher here in Waxahachie. I believe in fiscal responsibility. I believe in a good education for these kids. I believe that we need to be able to stand up and say no when no needs to be heard. And I appreciate your support on May 8th or early election. Thank you very much.
Question, Floyd. What about this? What's your position on this current school bond?
The problem with Proposition 1 is that they've mixed in a few things that we really need versus a lot of things that they want. The things they need is probably $4 or $5 million, and then but this Proposition 1, it's like $22 million for the whole bond with a new facade. We had some architects get in there with some happy feet, decide they could make some money this way. The last school bond that we passed, we still have some money left in that bond. The unfortunate thing is when they were building those schools, we've got a few things that disappeared, furniture disappeared. We had $200 trash cans that were ordered. You know, those are things that, you know, someone has to stand up and say, wait a minute, guys, so who's counting who's watching the vouchers as they go out and writing the checks when they're made, and who's watching this stuff when it's ordered? So these are the kind of things that we need men and women of integrity and that is got their eyes wide open and have a little business sense to stop this kind of thing.
Anyone else?
I have flyers on the table over there.
All right. Flyers on the table for anyone who wants to pick them up with one of the candidates. Folks, how many of you here are happy with our Congress and with our current administration?
Boo.
How many of you want to change what's going on in Washington?
Yay!
All right, that doesn't sound very enthusiastic. Let me hear it. How many want to change what's going on in Washington? Yay! All right, that's what we're all about. And it's going to take communities just like this, groups just like us all across this nation to do it. And I think we've already seen some signs that people are getting fed up. The vote in Massachusetts is an example. We've had a couple of other governor's races that shows that people are getting fed up. But now you have to wonder, they rammed the health care bill down our throat, knowing that everyone was opposed to it. Now, you would think that, well, I'm not going to say reasonable people, they're certainly not reasonable, but you would think that common sense would say, if we did this and get everyone mad, they're going to vote us out. What's the one mechanism they have to possibly keep you from voting them out? That would be immigration. If they can legalize all the immigrants that are here in the country right now and get that done before November and try and get that vote blocked. That's what they hope to do, and that's what they're pinpointing right now is immigration. How do we stop it? You have to contact your representatives and your senators. If you're a little upset with what's going on, you have reasons to be. I want to go over about 4 things that have occurred since the first of the year to let you know where we're heading in addition to immigration. Have you heard of the International Arms Trade Treaty?
Yes.
Yeah.
That's been sitting around for a long time. The Bush administration didn't care about it. This administration does. The Secretary of State has already said that they're going to join in to negotiate that treaty. It regulates arms trade, supposedly to keep arms from terrorist hands. If you read it, though, it gives the Attorney General of this country the authority to interpret it however necessary to regulate ownership of guns among all the citizens of the country. This president and a lot of the folks that's with him have a history of being anti-gun. What people have to be aware of is he has stated time after time he will not ever propose legislation to take your guns. He says one thing and he's doing something else behind the back door like he is on everything else. He can certainly say, I didn't propose this legislation, this is an international treaty. We're going to be bound by what foreign countries say you have to do with regard to gun ownership. There's a way to defeat it, and the way to defeat it is to turn over the makeup of the U.S. Senate that has to ratify this treaty. Our chance is in November because this thing won't be coming up for a vote until 2012. If we can make a significant enough change in November, we hopefully will stop that. In addition, Senator Lautenberg of New Jersey has introduced Senate Bill 2820. How many of you know about Senate Bill 2820? That was introduced about a month ago. That sets up a national firearms registration. Right now, if you buy a gun, they have to run a check on you, as you know, but that's destroyed in 48 hours. This is permanent record of gun ownership in the country. The NRA's fighting it, others are fighting it. That's something else we need to stay on top of to get our senators and representatives to vote against. You know, I've never considered myself to be a radical in any respect. But if you read your history and you study a little bit, you'll find out that one of the first ways that a socialist government can come into play is to disarm the citizens. That's necessary. Our founding fathers knew that. That's the reason we have the Second Amendment. And they're trying to circumvent the Second Amendment. And that's what we have to be vigilant about and fight against. And that's what we're about, is to try to educate folks about what's going on. Now, in addition to those 2 bills, we've got ENDA. Anyone familiar with ENDA? Employment Non-Discrimination Act. That's pending in Congress right now. There's a provision in ENDA that's been put in by the Democrats that state that it will be a criminal offense for schools to not hire gays, lesbians, and transgenders to teach your kids. That's pending in Congress right now. One of the first ways also to try to change things around is to influence what school kids are taught. My wife and I attended a session this past week in Carrollton, which was put on by the Tea Party up there. The speaker was Kelly Shackelford. Anyone familiar with Liberty Institute? They are the national organization that's defending a lot of cases right now in the country. They are the organization that rallied people in Austin to stop the attempt by groups to take away Christianity, Christmas, a lot of the founding fathers' history out of school textbooks for the next 10 years, and they stopped it. They're also representing some students right now in Plano. The Plano Independent School District has taken a position that the First Amendment does not apply to school kids, and they have taken actions to keep all religious symbols, all references to the Bible, Jesus out of the school system. And they're fighting that right now. It's actually a case that's pending before the U.S. Supreme Court for cert to be granted for the court to hear it.